And we're live.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I know we talked about this a little bit, Zane, already. So it's a little bit hush hush, a little bit
Right.
behind the scenes and everything, but I did want to let you know a couple of things for what you're doing. I've seen some of what you've done already. It's always amazing what you do, Zane, but I wanted to give you a little bit more, right? So here's the thing. This is kind of behind the scenes. It's okay, I think, though. Maybe
All right.
not. I don't know.
Cool. Cool.
But I'm kind of worried about what Jason's going to reveal, and it's one of these weird feelings that I've got. I'm really worried for the following reason. I'm worried for those people who miss the announcement, and I feel like I'm walking on that razor's edge. You know what I'm saying? You know
Right.
how you know what that's like, where you're trying to make the right decision, and it's not just like you're walking on this big fat wide path. You're walking on the razor's edge. You're trying to make the right decision, and you know that you can't take many more steps and balance the
Right.
right decision. Right, you make the right decision, it's the right decision. Everything, it means everything to you. You make the wrong decision and it's really disaster. And well, actually, you know what, now that I think about it, do you mind if I tell you a quick story? Because it kind of,
Oh yeah,
maybe even two
please.
stories, it kind of encapsulates everything behind the scenes, what's going on here. Being inside Rapid Crush, I'm the chief marketing officer, so I have access now to all this stuff. And I'm like, geez, guys, you never shared that with me before. So there's this one guy, right? And he skips this when he first sees it. He skips over. He's like, no. He basically, he puts up it's the Heisman. He puts up the hand, right? He's kind of,
Right.
he spits on it. He says, okay, no way. And I'm like, what? And I didn't know any of this, by the way. So he sees it again and he dismisses it again, the Heisman the second time. And so this is the thing. He finally uses these 4 steps that Jason provides and that he's going to give to everyone else, which is kind of weird, but he's going to do it. And it's about, these 4 steps create your own monopoly. Now, I know that's kind of weird, like, because, like, wait, monopoly, is
Right. Yeah.
that good? Is that ethical? I'm allowed to do that? It's like, well, okay, that more on that in a minute. Anyhow, okay, so he uses these steps, and with Jason's help, he ends up pulling in over 100 grand a month. Now, yeah, right. So I'm like, what? And I see the proof, I see the screenshots and everything. And I think Jason's going to end up showing those, like, hey, look at this. But he tells the story behind it and goes into some of the detail, which is kind of weird again. Now, this guy doesn't do much work. One of the things that Jason doesn't really talk about, this guy doesn't do much work. He's not lazy or anything. He's just busy with other stuff. And
Okay.
you know how that. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Oh
I
yeah.
can relate
Oh
to that. But he's making 100 grand a month, right?
yeah.
Now, I don't know. So anyhow, that's going to come up, and it's one of those things. But there's another guy too, and so I'm talking to Will about this. He almost quit. It was the same thing. He almost told Jason to go to hell. I actually saw this email.
Really?
Yeah, it was really close to telling him to go to hell. There was some language there. It was very emotional, and it wasn't Jason. In fact, in this case, it was actually Will Meadows, right? And
Whoa. That takes a
Will,
lot to get. Yeah, that takes a lot to
yeah,
push those buttons.
yeah, Will's pretty, calm, even keel. It was Will is the guy that saved the day. Of course, he's in Rapid Crush and all that. That's not really what really matters. What matters is that he followed through on the 4 steps. He didn't do anything new or special or unique. In other words, he didn't like change the model. He didn't change Jason's model or do anything like that beyond what Jason gave him, really. Now, Zane, this is the thing. Do you have any idea how this guy is doing? Now, remember, this is a guy that Will had to walk off that proverbial ledge. The guy like, don't jump, right?
Right.
This guy, right? He's on the verge of quitting. He was now. I love this, right? He was scratching by, just barely making his way. Only making. He was going to quit. He was going to quit making only $200 a day. That's what he was doing. Now I was like, wait a minute. What's the math in that?
That was his version of broke.
He was broke. He's this is no good. This is failing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm reading this email trail. I'm like, what? I don't understand this. And he's going to tell Jason to go to hell, right? He's like, whatever. And I see this language and $200 a day. I'm like, wait a minute. What's the math on that though? It's 200 times what's a month? 30. So that's like what, five? That's like what, 5-6 grand a month. This guy's going to tell Jason to go to hell because the system doesn't work. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So that's nice and everything and all that. But now, again, Will kind of reels him back in, and he's pulling in 170 grand a month.
Whoa.
Now, yeah,
That
right.
is not a small number.
Yeah, that's like, so you go from $200 a day to 170 per month, and so the whole deal. So he decides to get a little bit more active and like, well, Will, what do you mean? And he goes, oh yeah, take a look at this. And I actually saw the screenshot of this as well. It's just lovely to have this right in front of you, right? So it says, hey, look, I spent $600 today. I spent 600, right? This is the guy that $200 a day was horrible, right? So I just spent $600 today, but I made $13,000 in sales. Now, I did the math on that real quick in my head as I was looking at that. And that's for, so for every dollar that this guy puts in advertising, he's making 20 times his money back. Every $1 translates to $20. It's sort of a stacking effect or a multiplier. And this is the power of a monopoly, right? That's monopoly power. That's monopoly pricing and power and so on. That's where the profits really come from. Now, if you don't have a monopoly, you can't enjoy that kind of return, but you can still do really well even without a monopoly. But I'm like, geez, man, now in other words, this is a guy who almost gave up on his own monopoly, his own personal monopoly. Now,
I'm sorry, but this still just blows my mind. Why is he complaining about $200 a day? I still don't get that.
I don't get it either, but I looked at it, I saw this, and I'm going, oh, and Jason's going to reveal, he's not going to provide all the backstory because it's a little hush hush, and you don't want to you don't want to hurt people's feelings, and it's like, oh, I mean, he's being exposed, but I'm like, holy smokers. So this is a little bit, that's why I said, hey, let's just kind of take this, let's do this on the download, right? So here's the next thing. Now here's the next thing, right? And this is how I personally feel about this. Now, I can't tell you what you ought to do with your money and your power. The analogy that kind of comes to mind, it's certainly not perfect or not really very good at all. I know that nuclear energy can power an entire city at a very low cost, and it can be safe if you know what you're doing. It's all about safety and security and doing things right and following the processes and so on and so on. You got to have all the right stuff in place. It's still the same energy source, or that same energy, right? The same power can turn the same city into a sea of glass, right? I mean, it's how you use it.
Exactly.
It's like fire. I can hand you fire, but are you going to burn down the house? You're going to make a pot roast. I don't know. Here's a gun. And what are you going to do with a gun? Keep the folks safe and secure? Are you going to go on a rampage? I don't know. That's sort of the power of the monopoly, right? I don't know what you're going to do with the power. I don't know what you're going to do with the money.
Yeah, just raw, unfettered power like that. Yeah.
It is. It's really one of these sayings, and I've seen it, time and time and time again, and a couple of examples there. So I wanted to share that with you. I know that you're intensely focused on this, and you're looking for the various angles. Does it make sense? Does it still work? And actually, speaking of that, one of the things I've heard again and again, and this isn't surprising at all, Zane, what I want to stress is that it's not about the opportunity. Of course, the opportunity is there. I mean, that's because the opportunity is so obvious. It's growing. But what's not so obvious is tapping the opportunity and creating your own monopoly. It's just not possible without Jason's tactics. That's the thing. That's what has changed. And I'm like, ooh, geez, is that something that I should let folks know? Should I let you know that? I mean, you know how it is, Zane. People rush in, they ruin certain opportunities, they ruin certain, they flood the market, they get into a niche, they kind of think they're taking over, and really, it's urine in the well. They've put urine in the well. It's like, well, okay, I guess I have to move on. The well is still there. And there are more wells, and water itself is abundant. But geez, if you go over here and you dump a bunch of, garbage into the well, what do you think's going to happen? And that's what people.
Yeah, well, it's like what Jason was saying in our previous interview, when I said, well, it sounds like it's just about being vigilant, and he said being vigilant or following somebody who can be vigilant. And I think that transfers very nicely with exactly what you're saying, is that, like, if you have the power of a nuclear power plant, then you want to make sure that the best, smartest, most qualified person is at the helm, making sure that city doesn't turn into a city of glass, right?
Yeah, it's like The Simpsons, right? Who do you really want running the power plant? Really? I mean, let's think about this. Well, I mean, so it really does all begin with a 4-step system, and also getting access and following through the right way. I mean, I probably shouldn't have revealed that, because it sounds like
4 steps.
Well, it sounds like you need this magic wand, or you need, fairy dust or whatever to succeed. The difference here is that you do need an unfair advantage. So you have the 4 steps, but you need the unfair advantage. You need the combination of the 4 steps, but you also need the unfair advantage that goes along with that. And that's if you want to, that's the reality of it, right? I mean, if you want to suck the oxygen out of the room and strangle the competition, that's what you need to do. I mean, the 4 steps, that's not enough. 4 steps are good. That will allow you to get, moderate results. You can probably hit $200-300 a day, pretty straightforward, right? Maybe more than that, maybe $500 a day if that's good enough for you. But if you really want to monopolize, if you want to aggressively monopolize, and I'm not, I'm waving my hands, man. I don't know how you're going to use the power and the money. I don't know. That's what worries me. That's what I shouldn't reveal. I don't know. It's so effective that it doesn't seem fair. The power of a monopoly is really something. If you kind of take a step back, it's like, well, geez, what does the king have to say? I mean, I don't, if you're the king, I don't know what does that mean? So this is so far beyond diving into a niche. So one of the things that's come again and again is, well, what niche should I go into? What about the demand? How do I get into the, how do I select the right kind of product exactly? Right? Crazy demand, and things like that. It's like, okay, it's not about that. It's about domination. And that's what scares me. That's what, that's why we have to have this conversation. It's like, well, do you reveal that or not? That it's about monopoly power, being the monopolist, being the king of the mountain. I mean, are people prepared for that? I mean, I know people they're petrified to speak in public. Are they petrified of having their own monopoly? I don't know. This is uncharted. This is uncharted. This is not normal. Right. Yeah. It's and what's going to happen when a small handful of folks see this and use it? I don't know. Yeah. Now, I don't know, Zane. I mean, I don't know, man. And now there is one last thing. There's one last thing here. As you'd expect, there's something very, very unique. Part of getting your monopoly, having your own personal monopoly. Here's the thing. This is weird. And this is, I say I shouldn't reveal that. I shouldn't really reveal this either, but Jason's able to back all of this up. Jason's able to back all this up with a legal guarantee of profit. So, you can talk about legality and ethics. So the ethics are not up to me or up to you, Zane. They're not up to Jason or Will or anyone. The ethics in this monopoly situation, the ethics are up to the person who has control and has awareness and knowledge now. The ethics are beyond our control. That it could spiral out of control. It really, it could. That's what worries me. So that's the first thing. Right. So ethics and legality. See, the ethics, we've got that one covered because it's not us. It's them. There's the risk there. The legality piece is the exact opposite. Is it legal? Sure. And not only is it legal, Jason's making a legal guarantee of profitability. I mean, it doesn't, it's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that I can do this?
Hold on.
It's like,
say that again?
Yeah. So Jason, this is what's weird. It's like, well, is it, people are asking me, is this ethical? And I'm like, well, it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell you much right now. It's up to Jason how much he wants to reveal. But yeah, it's ethical if you treat this ethically. So let's take that off the table. Is it legal? And my answer is, well, not only is it legal in the, it's legal by, in terms of the law. Sure, it's legal. You're not going to get into trouble. In fact, it's legal going the other way in your favor. It's so legal, in fact, that I phrase it this way. There is a legal guarantee of profit when you use your monopoly power. There is a legal guarantee of profit when you use the 4 steps. And when you use what Jason reveals, and it's one of those things where I kind of go, all right, maybe we're getting into the realm of I cannot believe this, and I understand that. It starts sounding like hype and gets all weird and so on. Yeah. But there's a legal guarantee of profit if you use the 4 steps and you utilize what Jason makes available. Simple as that. So it's not only legal, Zane. It's better than legal. It's super legal. It's your guarantee. There's a legal guarantee of profit. if you use the 4 steps and if you utilize exactly what Jason provides. It's one of those things that you have to sort of stop and go, wait, I need to hear that again. That's what you did. And
Yeah.
that's what I've been hearing and seeing as well. It's like, wait, I've got to stop. Wait. So a monopoly that's legal, yes. And not only is the monopoly legal, there's a legal guarantee of profit if you choose to exploit very ethically, very reasonably the 4 steps, and you utilize what Jason has for you. So that's what I wanted to share. I mean, I wanted to put that in front of you before it gets out to everyone, because you're like, wait, I don't know if folks are going to be able to wrap their brains around this, if they're actually going to believe this, if I don't know. You know your folks better than I do, but I wanted to share it because I know you're watching this so closely.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and you know this is coming. I'm gonna ask, because everybody's wondering. Can you tell us any more about any of these bonuses? Everybody's just like on the edge of their seat, like, please tell us what they are.
Well, I mean, I can tell you this. We never rest. We never stop. When we're doing something, when our business, that is Rapid Crush, when we're doing what we do, it's not as if we say, oh, we're done and we're going to move on. Or it's not as if we get something done and then 3 or 4 months later, we're on the cutting edge and everyone else gets what's 3 or 4 months old, right? It's never like that. One of the things I can tell you is that it's basically a secret weapon. I'll tell you just a little bit about it.
All right. Nice. Everyone's going to appreciate this. They're going to be like, John's awesome. He's telling us stuff.
Something of a secret weapon, and I'll leave it at this. If someone is willing to take the chance to invest a little bit of money, okay? So this is one of those like, okay. If you're willing to invest a little bit of money into your business, now that assumes that you're already building your business, you're going for it, you're jumping in with both feet, you've taken advantage of the sort of the basic opportunity with the 4 steps and what Jason has to provide. The secret weapon gives you the ability to reinvest back into the business for nothing.
Interesting. Okay.
I can't say much more than that, but you're able to put money in. And if I'm saying you can do that for nothing, that either means that there's money flowing to you freely, or what you put in is given back to you in some way or another. So the advertising, the spending, the marketing that you'd like to do to juice your results, to take things to the next level, you're able to do that with what we've got, with what Jason's got, and he'll go through that. He's going to explain that. But driving down what it takes, pushing down to the lowest levels, what it actually takes to get the greatest results, the greatest leverage, the greatest multiplication, the greatest stacking of benefits and outcomes, dude, we've solved that. It's the one thing that I kept pushing Jason and Will. I'm like, guys, what about this? I mean, I'm not quite sure I understand that. What about that? Can't people do this? And we put our heads together, and it's one of these things where you're able to do something for virtually, well, actually zero cost. It's a zero cost opportunity to grow your business. That's as far as I can go. I really can't go farther than that, but it will be revealed. And it just takes everything 5 and 10 times higher than where anyone's at right now.
Now that's what we love about Jason. The more answers he gives us before the launch, the more questions it makes. But at least it's something. And we're only like 2 days away. They can wait. But I appreciate you sitting down with me, because those are some thinker questions. And I also appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight on these bonuses. But in the meantime, for those of you watching, I do have a mind map that you can download and some extra information to keep you satisfied. And we will contact you as soon as the bonus list is ready. So with that in mind, John, you've been awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we go?
Well, I will add this, and we may or may not be on, live or not. I don't know, but I wanted to pass this by you real quick, just so you know. There is a particular bonus, and I think it's going to land in time. I've seen this again and again. The question comes in, hey, I'm wondering about this particular listing. Is there a way for me to intentionally manipulate Amazon in such a way to get rankings in record time? Am I able to do that? Okay,
Right.
so that's the question that comes in: is there can I intentionally manipulate as the owner, as the businessman or businesswoman?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, well, there is a very, very specific technique of reverse engineering that Jason's perfected, as you can imagine, over the years, literally over the years.
Mm-hmm.
That may be something that is of great value to someone who has launching a product for the first time or relaunching in a very creative way. So even if you have multiple products out there, you
Hmm.
may want to
Really?
relaunch, and there might be a certain re-engineering process that Jason's perfected and that he's willing to share with people to intentionally manipulate Amazon to pop the rankings up extremely high. And that's, this is the
Wow.
result. This is the
Oh, that is
result of
crazy.
testing. Well, it's interesting, right? Because you can, okay, when you get into the SEO world, Zane,
Hmm.
search engine optimization, people are always talking about, they're always talking about Google. Well, let's face it, Amazon is a giant buyer's search engine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, right.
it is. It's a giant buyer's search engine. So one of the things that Jason has unique experience with, he's analyzed hundreds of products, in fact, thousands of products, but hundreds that he's done extreme deep dive on across 16 different categories. And when you start looking at Amazon ads, Google pay-per-click, Facebook funnels, YouTube ads, press releases, social
Oh yeah.
influence, when you start looking at these things in exactly the right way, when you combine them in exactly the right way, you can intentionally manipulate Amazon. It's all, again, above board, ethical. In fact, Amazon, that's exactly why
Yeah.
Amazon rewards you. That's why they
Yeah.
reward you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna say Amazon probably welcomes it.
They're like, hey, these guys are doing something pretty interesting and special. Now, there's a way of doing it, and there's a way of doing it really, really poorly, where you will hurt yourself, you harm yourself. I've seen other people explain some of these tactics and techniques, but they often get it wrong, and it harms them. It harms them and harms their business, and they certainly will not be able to create a monopoly in any sense or any fashion. And there's no guarantee of profit. No, just not going to happen, right? But when you reverse engineer things, when you have that profit or when you have that process, you will profit. You will profit. You will get what you want and what you need, and that is a monopoly with a legal guarantee of profit. And so there is a bonus that very much lines everyone up. Who wants it? That's the thing, Zane. Anyone who wants it. You don't have to take it, right? That's the way this goes. Anyone who wants to know how to reverse engineer an Amazon ranking exactly the right way across 16 different categories, depending on what their business is, their product. Hey, I mean, it'll be there. It's in there. One of
Yeah.
many, 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 many things that will be available to help folks. So yeah, I mean, you push. So yeah, there's a bonus in there for reverse
Nice.
engineering. And boy, I tell you, you combine that with software updates, with the software that's available. That alone, man, extremely powerful. Extremely powerful.
Well, cool. And again, I appreciate you giving us a little bit more insight. I hope Jason doesn't get on your case too much because I was really pushing him for bonuses and he's like, nope, I ain't telling you. I'm like, oh, come on. So if you get in trouble again, I'm sorry.
I'm a big boy. I'll put on my big boy pants and we can duke it out. So, all right, man.
All right.
Well, yeah, great talking to you. And like I said, it's up to you to decide, what folks are ready for, what really makes sense. And like I said, getting that monopoly, man, setting up your own personal monopoly is something that it's really out of this world. And with the
Absolutely.
guarantee, the legal guarantee of profit, once you've got that, it's something that's mind blowing, and I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, and of course, everybody listening to this is gonna be very interested in seeing that portion of the bonuses. So again, for those of you who are watching live, and even if you're just watching this as a replay, go ahead and click the link below. That should satisfy you for the bonus list. It's an Amazon mind map, and if you're watching this after launch, well then no problem because you can just click on the link and look at all the bonuses and laugh at how much we were tortured by this delay of bonuses. So. Thank you again, John. Really appreciate your time, and let's go ahead and sign off. Goodbye, everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zane.